really put a chill on your day. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us, you'll love us.
In a movie, you have one chance to make something happen and to happen right. Bring it bigger, better than it's been seen before. I've been a working stuntman for 25 years now. Definitely not about glory or showing off. It's about making the impossible possible. I'm third generation in the business. Started with my grandfather, then my dad got involved in it. I've been in 115 movies. Period movies are awesome. Last of the Mohicans was a great adventure with my family, with my dad and brothers. There's those crazy-ass blockbusters that everybody loves to be on, where it's just over the top, to the moon, you know, bigger than life. Funnest movies, for sure, would be Waterworld. 50 of my best stunt buddies in Hawaii, wrecking stuff every day on the water. Obviously, car work is the ultimate. The whole goal with Need for Speed was to go as fast as we can. On the movie set, there's generally probably 150 to 200 people that are your working crew. You got to manage where everybody's at all times. Making sure we have communications dialed in between our assistant director, our players, our stunt personnel that are working around.
Hey, what do we need to do to extend this to
On Need for Speed, there was a huge car crash that we were going to do that was, kind of a turning point in the movie. Something that, you need to be going 200 miles an hour to do for real. Our director wanted to, obviously he wanted everything to be done practical, but he felt that the look of this particular wreck that he could do might have to happen in a CG environment. came up with an idea of pushing the vehicle sideways, profile, and hitting these huge pipe ramps. We can do this for real. He kind of said, really? All right, well, show me. I then, as the coordinator, said, okay, let's do this. I know we can do it. I know it's totally possible. Your raw skill is going to get you through it, but at a certain point, you're going to need that extra moment of practice to pull you through it consistently.
Okay, let's go ahead and start pulling this back, please. All right, Troy, here we go. I'm going to start pushing.
So you set?
Set. Yeah, action, Troy.
I had all the confidence in the world. The director had it all the confidence in the world, and we came in and we nailed it. It was awesome. Lance Gilbert, stunt coordinator, action designer. In a movie.
2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And thank you, Marty. Yes, also another number that you can call is a little easier to remember is Car Clinic. That's 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. This is a car show. We also talk about fuels and engines and transmissions and paint and you name it, from bumper to bumper. Ride along with me this hour. And if you do have a question, now is the time to get in. Miss Jan is on vacation, wouldn't you know? And Ted is filling in. So when you call, Mr. Ted will answer the phone. That's 888-227-2546. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by AC Pro. Is your air conditioners not blowing cold enough? Well, folks, you bring back the cold in under 10 minutes with a do-it-yourselfer. It's an AC Pro kit. I've got one right here. I've actually used this kit, and it works. Go to acprocold.com for the store nearest you to pick up your AC Pro kit. Also, this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by Royal Purple, my choice for synthetic oil. With the new HMX high-mileage engine oil, if your engine has over 75,000 miles and you want to consider switching to and upgrading to a high-mileage oil that is specially formulated. More information on that when I come back. Also, summertime's coming up. Purple Ice from Royal Purple. Go to royalpurple.com for more. In the meantime, a short break. Back with your calls at 888-227-2546. I'm Bobby Likis with today's Fact or Friction. Brought to you by Royal Purple, the performance lubricants that outperform. Fact or friction? Vehicles with lots of miles can benefit from specially formulated oil. Fact. Yes, the aging process affects vehicular bodies, just as it does human bodies. Our parts wear and our valves harden. Same with your vehicle. Just think about the extreme heat, friction, and oxidation your engine is subjected to as it racks up miles and months. So if your vehicle's odometer tops 75,000, look for oil specifically formulated to revitalize, like Royal Purple's new HMX high-mileage motor oil. HMX is fortified with robust zinc, phosphorus, anti-wear additives, and Royal Purple's Centerlick technology to minimize wear, revitalize hardened seals, and restore lost engine performance. When choosing oil for your vehicle, consider Royal Purple. Visit royalpurple.com and pick up Royal Purple at O'Reilly Auto Parts.
If your car's air conditioning isn't blowing cold air,
It isn't.
then you need an AC Pro.
Is there one around here?
Yeah, you.
Me? But I can't.
New do-it-yourself AC Pro is the 10-minute cold air solution. It's fast, easy, and saves you money. With AC Pro, you'll have cold air blowing again in just minutes.
Wow, it's freezing in here, and I did it myself.
See? You are an AC Pro.
Yes, I am.
New AC Pro, the 10-minute do-it-yourself auto AC cold air solution.
What is the number one cause of battery failure? Corrosion of the positive grid. The positive grid in the battery provides the power to start your car. Weak grids are susceptible to corrosion and expansion, leading to battery failure. Batteries with power frame grid technology inside are up to 66% more durable and more corrosion resistant than other grid designs. Look for the power frame logo on the outside of your next battery. It means true strength on the inside. Visit powerframe.com to find a retailer near you.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
It straddles the line between timeless classic and modern luxury.
The grape tomato.
The ruby red in a sea of greens. The muse behind the great chef, Boyardee.
Beefaroni. Mi amore.
Oh, tomato. Are you fruit? Are you vegetable?
What is identity?
Groceries, essentials, signature value.
The Everyday Collection by Target.
Hey, Todd. Where's our sub?
Oh, Samantha. I've already given my sub to Sally.
What? Sally? Hey, Samantha. How could you?
I got a phone call. Todd.
Men.
This is Todd.
Get your own steak and bacon melt with mountains of juicy steak and melty cheese. Subway Steak Melts. Subway, eat fresh.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome to this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Delighted to have you join me today. This is, I don't know which edition, but some 23 years. So you could do the math, 23 times 12, and that's just on Saturday. For many years, some 21 years, we actually had Bobby Likis Car Clinic on our local program, which is WCOA. And that station, also 1370 AM, airs this program every Saturday. And for those of you who are listening to this program and it's not between 10 and noon Eastern Time, it just means that the station that you're listening on may tape delay this program and air it at a different time. We are always live at watchbobbylive.com. That's watchbobbylive.com. And I got to tell you, it's really exciting because we're on HD, which, as I understand, is... Full, Tony. So HD means that you can click the full, but you have to go to the HD setting in because your browser's going to start at 320.
Yeah, it's set to auto, so whatever your internet speed is set to handle maximum, that's what it'll do. But you can click the little widget-looking thing at the bottom, it's the settings button.
Right.
Drop it up to 720p and you'll see the beautiful picture that is Bobby Likis.
Well, you know what's really great about that is we have different folks that call in, and then we also put different B-roll. And folks, B-roll is video. You've seen it when you have, say, a commercial or something on television, or you have a race, and they'll show what's happened previous to or prior to the real time. And it's really cool. And what that does for us is it helps to expand. And we are expanding. And in fact, the new programs that we rolled out over the past 2 weeks are some significant programs we have added in addition to our Facebook.com. And by the way, Ted will take your call at 888 Car Clinic. Better to call in now than it is to wait until later. 888-227-2546. And don't give Ted a hard time too much. Well, I don't know. He's 21 now, right? Yeah, he just turned 21 a couple of months, 3 months. Fresh 21. Now, there you go. So, folks, like me on Facebook.com/Bobby Likis, and that's Likis. Also on Twitter.com, same name. Pinterest.com, same name. Also Tumblr. So we have Pinterest, we have Twitter, we have Facebook, Tumblr, just other social media ways. And also many folks will download the program through podcast. And Tony, I understand you can go to iTunes and
yeah, it's in the iTunes store. So
iTunes store.
Search for Bobby Likis.
Got it. And so all of those methods of delivery just mean that you can find this program or you can watch us at YouTube. This is new, and I'll tell you, I love that Google. I mean, they are fantastic to work with, and Tony's, for the last couple of weeks, really done a great job. So, Tony Gregory, thank you. Kudos to you. We're 100% ad-free on the video, which is really was, we were interrupted before. Just about the time you hear a question and an answer, and you say, well, hey, maybe that's to do with my automobile. Boop, we would go away and Huggies would be or something unrelated to cars. So now we're on YouTube.com and /Bobby Likis in full screen, true HD, 100% ad-free, yes, and with the ability to rewind, pause, and add me on Google Plus straight from my YouTube channel. It's way cool. Get social with us. And let's take a call now from Maggie. Maggie, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Maggie, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Hi.
Hi.
I was told by my dealer, I have a Chevy Spark, 2013 Chevy Spark, and I was told by my dealer that I should put something in my car that evaporates the water in the fuel so that it wouldn't rush the fuel filter out. Do I have to spend that money for it?
No. That is a ludicrous statement. It is a statement made by someone that is unknowledgeable. Let me explain to you, Maggie. That statement originates from someone who has heard from other companies that sell products that treat against ethanol in fuels. And the irony of that, and just for you to know, ethanol's been in our fuels since the 80s, and OEMs, car makers, have designed their fuel systems for E10 since the 80s. So your car is a brand new automobile. It actually is okay to use E15, which is a higher percentage of ethanol. But here's the bottom line, and just for you to know, Maggie, and I won't get real technical, but you got to know this. Ethanol is an antifreeze for gasoline because it is alcohol. It is that's exactly what it is. It's alcohol. So when you fill a tank with an E10 or E15 ethanol blend fuel, all of the moisture that could or may be in the air around or in the tank emulsifies and mixes with the fuel and flows harmlessly through the vehicle. There is no need to add any treatment regarding to ethanol, and most of those treatment formulas contain alcohol. It's a real irony if you were to dig down into the technical aspect of it. And just for you to know, I know that I understand, I can hear that you're driving. Well, you can go to Ethanol RFA, that's ethanolrfa.org, for all the information that you need. Do you have any questions?
No, I think you've helped me very much.
Well,
thank you very much.
You can quote me on all that I said, to any a technician or dealer across the country, and we welcome the facts, and that's exactly what I go, because I'm a car guy, and we're in the car repair business for 43 years, and so when our customers come in, they want to know what's wrong with my car, what caused it. Maybe what could I do to avoid it, just like your health? How do you live a healthier life? And those are the things that we provide for our customers. Thank you so much for your call, and have a great day, and enjoy your new Spark.
Thank you, I will.
You're welcome. That's a cool question. I wonder, I'm curious as to where she got that question posed to her. I want to reach out to WIBQ, 1230 AM in Terre Haute, Indiana. Frank Rush is the general manager and the program director and the guru at WIBQ 1230 AM in Terre Haute, Indiana. If you're listening to Terre Haute, remember, 10 till noon Eastern Time, 888 Car Clinic, Bobby Likis Car Clinic every Saturday. Also, watch Bobby live. Let's go to New York now. Alan, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thanks for holding. You're on the air.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir. What can I do for you?
I've got a 2007 Camry hybrid.
Okay.
And I've got a little over 93,000 miles on it.
Mm-hmm.
And I just am wondering if I need to be concerned about the battery system, the hybrid battery system in this, and is there any history on how long these things last? Can I keep driving it forever, or
I don't forever. Of course, nothing lasts forever. But Alan, that's a good question. If you had asked me that question, 10 years ago, maybe 8 years ago, I would have said that's going to be a real serious problem. And when we actually had the first hybrids that came out, and even before, I said, imagine this: if we had electric cars. Imagine that every car on America's highway that had 150,000 miles on it would have to have a new engine. And I was comparing the cost of a battery pack, which is $4,000 to $5,000, to a new engine. Right. And I said, let's think about, and because we're in the trenches every day, and I said, think about all the customers that we have that come into our service shop, and how many of those people would be willing to spend $4,000 or $5,000 for a battery or for a new engine, if it were not a hybrid, but it was a ICE, internal combustion engine powered only. So I said, how many people would be willing? And I said, think of all the cars that would hit the junk pile or recycle because people would not spend that money on the car, and rightfully so. And as we progressed, and as history shows, Alan, there's not been any problems with hybrid batteries, almost none that I know of with regard to the numbers of hybrids on the American highways and the number of batteries sold. And to that end, I got to thinking, the wheels got to thinking, well, here's a new business model. What's the worst that could happen? I'll tell you, the worst that could happen is there's just a batch of cars that need batteries, and rather than spend $3,000, some company's going to come out and remanufacture old batteries. And last year when I was at SEMA, lo and behold, we visited a company that did and does just that, remanufactures batteries. And Tony, you were with me. We went to the booth and looked at that, and I asked a dozen questions. And the first question I asked, where do you get your cores? And and that was, he said, well, that's a challenge. It's where we get the old battery to rebuild. And the name of the company escapes me right now. Tony, I don't know if you remember that. It's but they were not in the battery business, but they saw an opportunity. So just for what I can say and what I know, there's no problem with your automobile. Don't worry. It's not like a regular battery that's going to give problems. But if it does happen, there's a reman company on the way, and I've got a break on the way, so I'll be back. Don't go away. I'm Bobby Likis with today's Drive Smarter tip, brought to you by Escort, the world's best radar and laser detectors. Seasoned criminals, bad weather, and ants at an autumn picnic. All threats we'd rather avoid. But these pale in comparison to the number one menace of Americans aged 6 to 33, car crashes. Because crashes are predicted to involve 42,000 in the U.S. this year, an en route accident may be the biggest menace between you and the apple dunking contest. To avoid becoming a victim of this threat, with rates higher than crime and cost over $230 billion, watch your speed. Make it clear that everyone who's riding will buckle up and that no one who's intoxicated will drive. Though you can't do much about a rained-out picnic, it'd be a crime to let a preventable crash keep you from the next one. This Drive Smart Smarter tip is brought to you by Escort. Don't just drive, drive smarter. Escort. To choose the best radar or laser detector for you, drive to escortradar.com.
O'Reilly. Eventually it's going to happen. You'll turn the key and your engine won't start. Don't lose your ability to get around. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for a Super Start battery. Whether it's a reliable economy, hard-working premium, or powerful extreme, you'll find it at an everyday low price. Don't let a dead battery slow you down. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Ordinary, extraordinary, ultimate. Now you can get the ultimate in performance and protection with the ultimate oil change. Royal Purple High Performance Motor Oil with a Royal Purple High Performance Filter. Royal Purple engineered a long life filter that provides superior filtration, maximizes flowability, and has more than twice the burst strength of conventional filters. So take it to the limit. Royal Purple High Performance Motor Oil and Filter. Find a retailer near you at royalpurple.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
When we play a game together, I probably won't say,
"Thanks for making me the focus of all your attention and energy." I'll just give you a hug when I get a triple word score in Scrabble, or do a little dance as I make my first million in the game of life.
And I may not say, "Hey, this means a lot to me."
I may not say it, but you'll know.
Parker Brothers and Milton Bradley invite you to plan a family game night for your family tonight. Everybody who plays wins.
Mom, Dad, thanks for playing.
We'll be back with more music, but first a look at weather. Here's meteorologist Tom Sparks.
Thanks, Chad. There's a front moving in from the south, which is going to mix with warm air, giving us the distinct possibility for showers over the next few days. In fact, some of them are going to be big soakers, let me tell you. However, if you're planning any outdoor activities for the weekend, I have good news.
So it's going to be clear?
No, I just saved a bunch of money on car insurance by switching to Geico.
See what you could save. Call 1-800-947-AUTO. Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you want to know what goes on behind the scenes and the breaks, we have producers running around everywhere. We had a light to blow out in the studio here. And Tony's he's rescheduling or replacing lights and light bulbs. But so if you're watching, watch Bobby live, you'll see a little dark place. It's cool. That's cool. I don't know what it looks like on the net, but it's well, where was I? I'm right here every Saturday, right here, Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Folks, lots of fun, and I really enjoy helping you with your car questions. And we did learn that the lady who called in with regard to the dealer telling her she had to add some treatment to keep her fuel tank from rusting and her pipes from rusting in her new Spark was out of New York. So if you live in New York and you're tuned into Bobby Likis Car Clinic right now, just remember that when you buy a new car, you do not have to add things to that car. The cars that we drive today are absolutely over the top with regard to the technology, the materials, the engines, even so much so that we're seeing cars like the Kia, the new K900, has an ultra high steel that is thinner and lighter than the other steels that are used by manufacturers, which and yet it's stronger because it's a ultra strong steel that Kia is using in the new K900. That's going to be a whale of a car. I can't wait. I expect to be driving one very soon, and I'll give you the full report on the automobile. Now I'll take your full report at 888 Car Clinic. Ted will take your calls at 888-227-2546. We're going to go to Reggie, but before I do, I want to share this with you. PowerFrame patented grid technology. We had a question about batteries right out of the chute today. And although that's hybrid batteries, but the battery that's in your car, the lead acid battery, the next time you need a battery, you need to look for the PowerFrame logo on the outside, and because you'll know you're getting true strength on the inside, and that is a battery that has the PowerFrame grid technology, which is over the top. It reduces the corrosion that is typical with the positive plate in any lead-acid battery. For more information, go to powerframe.com. Okay, Reggie, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Thank you for holding.
Hey, how's it going?
Fine, sir. How about you?
Pretty good.
Good.
I got a quick question for you.
Sure.
By the way, I enjoy your show.
I thank you for that.
I got an 04 Tahoe, and the air condition, you could be driving down the road, blowing good and cold, and all of a sudden the heat will just start blowing. And you have to stop the car, shut it off, and turn it back on to get the air condition to blow cold again.
Do you think, Reggie, do you think it's the heat that's coming on, or do you think the AC is just maybe freezing up and blowing warmer air, or are you talking that it's just as though you turned the heater on?
Yeah, it's just as though you turn the heater on.
Okay, here's what I know. I don't know what's wrong with your car, obviously, without running tests on it, but here's what I do know. All cars since the early 70s are made so that when the HVAC, that's the heating air conditioning system in the car, when that fails, for whatever reason, whether it's a vacuum leak or an actuator, a blend door actuator, or the module in the dash that actually sends the signals to all those wires and vacuums and motors that you can't see behind the dash, when that system fails, you can drive the car just like you don't like it, but you can drive without the AC. The challenge is if you live in a cold climate and it's minus, North Dakota, and it's minus 20 outside, you'll freeze to death. You cannot drive the automobile if the system fails. So what does all boils down to? It all boils down to when the system in an air conditioning system fails in a car today, all cars, it fails towards the heat side. In other words, the HVAC system must be in proper working order for the AC, the air conditioning system, to work, but it could be totally in op. Well, not totally, but it could be, the AC could be totally in op, and the heater would still work. Your car has a problem, and it's broken, and the HVAC is failing, and when it fails, it automatically goes to heat, so that you so the driver can drive the car in the northern climates with the cold temperatures that that we have up there. Now, what can you do? I don't have any recommendations for you as the owner of the car, other than the fact that you're going to have to pay a shop to have them to test the system. And there's one thing that you did say. You said that you drive down the road and it goes to heat, and then I presume you pull over and shut it down and you refire it. Does it always fix itself?
Yeah, that's the only way you can get it to start blowing cold again. I thought maybe it was a vacuum or something on that flap door, that goes from heat to cold.
Well, if it were vacuum, that you could tease it by going up a long incline and using the vacuum. In other words, still staying in third or fourth gear and overdrive, but give the engine a lot of load. Lug is the word I'm looking for. And I don't mean to nail the throttle and it kicks into the second gear. I'm talking about lugging the engine and depressing the accelerator, but not quite far enough to make it downshift. And if you do, back off the throttle. And what that will do is that will cause the engine to run low on vacuum. And if that's a vacuum control, here's the challenge. You've got an 04. Your blend doors may not be vacuum controlled with actuators as you're thinking of and what older cars had. They may be electronically controlled with little electric motors that move the blend door. And in cars, we see a lot of these cars. With cars that have, and yours doesn't have this, dual control, where your passenger has control of his or her side and a driver has control of his side or her side, that those are electric controls. And General Motors had a problem with the head unit, which is the main unit. But I won't condemn or suggest that you replace any part. Reggie, the bottom line, somebody in the business has to test your vehicle. The best thing that I can do for you is to help you with buzzwords. And so what you need to know you need to know under what circumstances the AC fails. In other words, you have to drive the car 30 minutes or 20 miles or whatever. And does this happen in city stop and go, or does it happen when you're on the highway?
Yeah, it can just happen anytime.
Yeah,
Sometimes it might happen a few times during the day. Sometimes it might not happen for a while,
Yeah, well, the next time, let me ask a question. You turn the car off. What if you turn the unit off? What if you turn all the heat and everything back off and just wait 5 minutes and then turn it back on? Have you tried that?
Well, we've tried turning it off, but we hadn't waited like 5 minutes. But it just always seems you just got to cut the whole car off.
Well,
get it to go back.
Then that leads me to believe. Why don't you try it? You got nothing to lose. Next time, don't reboot the car. Continue to drive the truck, and then turn the system off and wait a positive 5 minutes and turn it back on. And because you could have just be low on refrigerant, the system could be freezing up. And you're going to a hot air or a ambient air, which feels like the heater's on. So sometimes you say the heater's on, but there's a difference between ambient air that comes in through the cowl of the windshield, and versus the heater, which is that's 200-degree water. So try that, and then you'll have more information that you can give to the service shop when you go in. You say, "Hey, my air conditioner appears." You could even use the word freezes up maybe. And then the first thing and what you want them to do is you want them to check the operating pressures before they start repairing or telling you what's wrong with the car. They just hook gauges to it and they check the low pressure and the high pressure to see if the AC system is healthy. And if the AC system is healthy, then that leads me to believe and will lead them to believe you've got a problem in the HVA system and not in the air conditioner part of the system. You got it? Okay. Hey, thanks for your call.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome very much. Appreciate your kind words. Reggie, 888 Car Clinic is the number for you to call. 888. I want to give a shout out to WZUS 100.9. That's Talk 101. Listener Todd Kunzel. And Todd Kunzel won 2 tickets to tomorrow's big race, the Indy 500. Compliments of Car Clinic partners at Stant. So, Todd, I hope you have a great time and take lots of pictures for us to share with our Car Clinic followers. So, folks, you can tune in tomorrow, too, on ABC for the Indy 500. It starts at noon, and the coverage starts, that's Eastern time, and the coverage starts at 11 a.m., and Kurt Busch, and Tony, we talked about this this week. Imagine one driver. Now, and Ted will take your calls here at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. NASCAR's Kurt Busch, I understand, is racing at an Indy 500 car. Then, after the Indy 500 race, he's going to Charlotte Motor Speedway and race the Coca-Cola 600. That's how many miles? It's 500 and 600. It's 1,100 race. Tired. Kurt Busch. I don't know that anyone. Wouldn't it be something if he won both of those races?
Yeah, I believe that'd be a first in history.
It would be a first in history. Yeah.
Well, best of luck to him.
It's like the Triple Crown coming up.
Yeah. First time since 74 or something like that.
60. 70.
I think it was the early 70s. Was the last
73.
Time Triple Crown. Yeah, I think something like that.
I did look that up recently.
Well, you should know then.
Well, I don't know. I know that. I don't know that. I know everything. Thank you, Tony. Okay. Anyway, so tomorrow we want to thank Stant, our partners at Stant, for giving us 2 tickets, and then we gave them actually WZUS Talk 101 gave them to one of their listeners. What a great time! That's a great affiliate that we have there. 888-227-2546 gas prices. Weekly retail gasoline prices, regular grade, dollars per gallon, $3.66 and a half, 366.5. That's down about 0.8 of a cent, so it's about the same as a year ago. It's 3 cents up from 3 cents down from a week ago. And let's see here, we've got the Midwest, Gulf Coast is 2 cents higher, and on the West Coast, folks. I don't know how many gallons your take holds, but it's $4. Gas is $4.02 a gallon on the West Coast, and West Coast, not to include California, is $3.76. So gasoline continues to inch its way up, and I think our threshold is $4.75 a gallon. And that's before we as a nation started to say, wait a minute, there really is a reason to wean ourselves off of foreign oil and drill for more oil here and use more alternative energies and fuels like ethanol. And I'll be back for your calls. I'm Bobby Likis with today's Fact or Friction. Brought to you by Royal Purple, the performance lubricants that outperform. Fact or friction? Low engine temps are a sign of good engine health. Friction. You know, engines that run hot are just a step away from overheating, but engines that run too cool are also in danger. Why? Low engine temps can cause dreaded water intrusion. Water collects in oil when the natural condensation that occurs in engine startups is not dissipated, typical of short trips when engines aren't brought to full operating temperature. Not only can water intrusion rust engine components, but it also erroneously adds to the oil level. An advantage of synthetic oil is its additive package, like Royal Purple's Centerlec technology that combats the hostile environment caused by water intrusion. When choosing oil for your vehicle, consider Royal Purple High Performance Motor Oil. Visit royalpurple.com for all the Royal Purple advantages, then pick up Royal Purple today at Pep Boy.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
This is Tom.
What's up?
Sitting in his cubicle.
Actually, it's called a workstation.
Whatever. Tom is slowly dying in his workstation.
I mean, aren't we all dying, really, if you think about it?
Let's not get philosophical, Tom. Just go to careerbliss.com. Follow companies that you find. Apply to openings right online. Check salaries and read reviews. Score a career that's perfect for you.
I feel alive!
Choose happy. careerbliss.com.
I'm your blind spot. And my job is easy. Hide big things.
You're good.
And if you named your own price on car insurance, you could be paying for this yourself. So get Allstate. You can save money and be better protected from mayhem. Like me.
Dollar for dollar. Nobody protects you from mayhem like Allstate agents.
And now for the bonus round. If Rome wasn't built in a day, how long did it take?
3 business days. Oh, plus 1 Saturday.
Correct. Oh. A good man is hard to find. Why?
Because he's so small.
Correct. Netflix delivers movies by mail, and now what other way?
Directly to your TV.
Correct! Netflix now delivers movies 2 ways, instantly to your TV, plus DVDs by mail. Watch as many TV episodes and movies as you want for only $9 a month. Netflix! See terms of use.
It's Practical Poly Radio. I've switched to cooking with healthier oils. So now what do I do with all these tubs of lard? Skinny jeans feeling too tight? A bit of lard on your hips and thighs and those pants slide on like a dream. So there's no need for that lard to go to waste. But get your best heart-healthy trade-up with healthier oils, like canola, olive, or other vegetable oils, which can actually lower your chances for heart disease. Learn more at heart.org/facethefats. Canola Info is the national supporter of the American Heart Association's Face the Fats campaign.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And I want to welcome you back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Just remember, set your calendars, and every Saturday from 10 till noon Eastern Time, we come to you and I share with you information that's from the automotive industry, new cars and fuels and businesses that are growing as well. So whether that's a new car dealership or an independent service shop or a bank, there are many businesses that are growing in the economy. I want to share this with you. I think this is interesting. A couple, 3 weeks ago, I mentioned this. By the way, Ted will take your calls, and I want to share this with you, but he'll take your calls at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. The Volusia County Council, this is in Daytona Beach, and our affiliate, 1150 AM WNDB, which, by the way, was one of our inaugural stations some 23 years ago. So we're delighted that we have a long-time relationship, not only with the station, but with all of you folks there in Volusia and Flagler County. Anyway, the Volusia County Council approved a $70,000 portion of an incentive package Thursday for Aquatech Bioenergy. It's the Southern South Dakota biotechnology company that's considering moving to Volusia County. I'm excited because our studios are in Pensacola, Florida, and so this is more business for Florida, and Florida's a beautiful place to live. Aquatech is considering sites in Volusia. They're also considering a site in Houston for a 40-acre pilot aqua farm that converts pond weeds into ethanol fuel. And Aquatech said that it would create 59 new jobs over 3 years with an average salary of $50,500. So don't know if that's going to happen, but hats off to Volusia County Council for the forward thinking, because that's really renewable fuels and renewable energies. And I don't know what kind of power bill you've gotten, but any way that we can save dollars, it's a good thing to me. I know that being in business for some 43 years, our power bill continues to grow, and we continue to use more power. And gasoline prices, as I mentioned earlier, continue to escalate. And so there's you got to cut here and cut there, and but we all spend our money where we really want to spend it. And speaking of spending money, Escort is giving away for Father's Day celebration. This is great news, folks. Another Passport Max. And this time, well, actually, we're going to give away, it's in honor of Father's Day. And I'm calling it the Car Story with Dad giveaway. You can send your car story with Dad to, and we set up a special email address for your car story. And you've got until June 14th to do this, so it's coming up rather rapidly. But just send your story. If you have a car story with you and Dad, maybe you and your father, or maybe you and your grandfather, maybe you and your big brother, but some connection there with regard to car stories, send your story to enter to win the Passport Max to Car Story at carclinicnetwork.com, and you'll be entered to win an Escort Passport Max. It's a $550 value, compliments of our friend Ron Jividan at Escort, and I'll announce the winner live right here on Car Clinic on June 14th, just in time for Father's Day. Meanwhile, go to escortradar.com to check out the Passport Max. So now's the time to send me your car story with Dad. And for the last 4 years, this is interesting. And Tony, we talked about this a little bit before the program. And folks, as I've mentioned to you, our studios are located in Florida, as inside our 15,000 square foot automotive service shop. And for the last 4 years, our customers have voted Bobby Likis Car Clinic Service Pre-Repair Best of the Bay. We won in both Best Automotive Service Shop and Best Oil Change. We'd be honored for your vote again in 2014. And if you're in the local area or even in the national area, we have a lot of folks that have brought their automobiles to us for repairs. We only have the one shop, Car Clinic Service Pre-Repair, but you can go virtually. You can go online to www.pnj, that's Pensacola News Journal, pnj.com/bestof. Again, pnj.com/bestof. And look under the professional category and vote Bobby Likis for Best Automotive Service Shop and Best Oil Change. The voting is open until this Wednesday, May 28th, and I want to thank you for that. 888-227-2546. We had a gentleman that called and was concerned because he had a hybrid car that was a 2007 Toyota, and he said, well, am I going to have to buy a battery? And we haven't seen a real need for the remanufactured batteries for hybrid cars, and yes, there's a company that remanufactures those batteries. I would say it would be sort of like the Maytag repairman at this point in time, because there really hasn't been. But as more of those cars get on the highway, then perhaps the demand for a reman battery, which would save somebody a whale of money, a lot of money, probably a 30-35%. I don't know the numbers because I don't know that they've sold enough of those reman batteries to do the job. what they're doing is they're taking the original battery case and they're putting all new guts on the inside. So it's not like that you're just spraying paint on something and scraping out the corrosion. It's not done that way at all. And speaking of corrosion, you've heard me talk about the power frame grid technology. Well, the power frame grids are made by a patented manufacturing technique. I mentioned you can go to powerframe.com to find out where you can find a battery with the power frame grid technology and to learn more about it. This technology is built structurally strong, but what's really important, and we actually provide the power frame grid technology battery at Car Clinic Service pre-repair, because this battery grid technology is up to 66% more durable and more corrosion resistant than other grid designs, and more durable means more dependable. With a power frame, you won't be left stranded. The power frame grid technology provides superior cranking power, and get this, folks, with up to 70% better electrical flow than other grid technologies. So don't settle for anything but the best for your car battery. The next time you need a battery for your car, and you have summer coming on, that's battery time, hot and cold. That's when batteries really fail. Just remember that you look for the power frame logo on the outside of the battery. It means that you'll have true strength on the inside of the battery. 888-227-2546. We'll take your calls, and Ted will take your call, put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. And I want to welcome again everyone who's watching at Watch Bobby Live. I'd love to hear your report of the clarity, because Tony spent quite a bit of hours to set up the studio, and thanks for repairing the lights. He's retuned the camera, and he's got the lights full bore in the studio here. And yes, we come to you every week from the center of the automotive universe, which happens to be in Pensacola, Florida, just FYI, and also happens to be inside a full-service automotive service shop, Bobby Likis Car Clinic Service pre-repair, on Davis Highway here in Pensacola. Take calls from across the nation, and I'll take your calls now at 888 Car Clinic, 888-227-2546. And I want to make this clear. I'm not here to repair your automobile. I don't know what's wrong with your car, but what I will do is I will share with you the information that I've learned over my 43 years in the automotive service industry, so that when you go to your local service shop, which you surely will have to do, you don't repair cars in the driveway anymore. When you go to the service shop, you need to know buzzwords. For instance, let's say that your check engine light is on. Oh, what's wrong? Oh, it's a gas cap. Really? Really? I mean, that's what everybody says, gas cap. I don't know. That's one of the most often, and it's also the most incorrect answer to why the check engine light. The next one is oxygen sensor. Oh, you need new oxygen sensors. I got to tell you, oxygen sensors run and last a long time. I think I have replaced 2 on my 2001 Town & Country with 145,000 miles, and the oxygen sensor was really not the problem. The sensor was damaged by upstream problems, which means the air-fuel ratio, the injection of the engine, the temperature of the engine, all the controls of the engine. Those are the things that really you need to know about. 888-227-2546. We'll take a call from Victor in Washington. Victor, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Yeah, thanks, Bobby. I believe I heard you say before that a 20,000 RPM engine, the valve springs wouldn't operate quick enough to operate the valves, so they used to air.
That's correct.
Now, how do they do that?
Well, think about you ever use a ball in a gym to exercise? You know, you can. It depends on the size of it. Everything from a tennis ball to a 2 foot tall ball, and or a balloon. Just think of a balloon, and you push a balloon, and you let off, and it doesn't care if you push it once per second or 1,000 times per second. The balloon's just going to press down and then press back. So that's what a valve spring does. You press a valve spring down when you open the valve, and it's just a wound wire. So it's a coil spring on a car. And, you know, over time, even coil springs on cars sag and sometimes break. And think of a coat hanger, Victor. if you take a coat hanger, and we've all done that before to have a piece of wire, you bend a coat hanger. So ultimately, there are two different types of metal. And there are many different, and I'm not a metallurgist, but there are two different types of metal. One, if the spring is malleable, which means it's soft, then it loses its tension, but it doesn't break. If it's hard and maintains its tension so that you don't have valve float at high RPM, the spring will break. So there's a fine line, and there's a and in drag racing cars where this is really applicable, valve springs are replaced every 10 runs. You don't even check them. You just put this, and they can cost thousands of dollars. You just put this new set of valve springs on, and you make 10 passes down a quarter mile, and then you take them off and replace them with new because they'll break. Now, on an Indy, not an Indy 500, but similar cars, Formula One cars specifically that I was referring to, that turn 20,000 RPM, a valve spring just can't hold up for the duration. So what do they do? They did away with the valve springs, and they use a hydraulic, they use a pneumatic balloon, for lack of a better description. And the balloon doesn't have the heat factor because you're not bending a wire. And because every other wire, just think of a ballpoint pen. When you click a ballpoint pen, you take one apart. We've all done that. There's a little coil spring in there that gives the clicker. It returns the clicker back to the top. So the challenge is, with engines, is the springs open and close so rapidly, and I can't even remember. I can't even do the math. But how many times that you'd be twisting or pushing, collapsing a wire, and then that wire will be closing the valve spring. And here's the main thing. The valve has to close and follow the camshaft profile. And the camshaft looks like an egg. Have you ever seen a camshaft in an engine?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. Well, just imagine just imagine, I'll tell you what I think of. I think of someone riding a bike over one of those motorsports and or an autocross, going over a hill, and they're going so fast that they get airborne. Well, a valve cannot get airborne. If it does, it's called valve float, and then the valve either destroys or the engine loses, that is limited on its RPM, and there is the real factor. Valve float limits RPM. The stronger the spring, the higher the RPM, but the stronger the spring, the less durable the spring. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Now, is that kind of like a donut with a flat push on it, mechanical flat
I think it's
push?
more like.
And how many pounds of pressure air is in that donut, or how do they do it? What configuration do they use to put that around the valve?
You know, I've never seen one. I've heard Formula One engines, but I've never actually seen one of those actuators, it's called. But you know what I will do this week? I will do some homework and see if online we can perhaps find one. If not, I'll reach out to friends that I have. I know a gentleman at Penske, and he would know this information, and also another gentleman with Earnhardt Childress Racing, who is considered a preeminent combustion specialist, and he's Dr. Andrew Randolph, and he's the director of engine for Earnhardt Childress Racing, and they make 680 engines, and he has some 100+ technicians under his guidance, and he makes all the engines for Earnhardt Childress Racing.
Why couldn't they do that on a regular engine too?
Well, the expense.
Oh, I see. Well,
and you don't need 20,000 RPM. 20,000 RPM is only for engines that are real small, and you're trying to create a lot of horsepower, but those engines can't get out of their way. That's why a lot of race cars fail when they're coming out of the pits, and you'll hear them go and slide the clutch, because if they kill the engine, the engine has no power below 5,000 RPM. Because it's a real small engine, and it produces thousands, not 1,000 horsepower, but it can produce 800 to 1,000 horsepower because it runs a turbo, and they run E85. The Indy cars run 85% ethanol because of its 113 octane rating. It's a lot of good stuff. We can do a racing show any day of the week. There are many guests that we could have on that could answer questions related to RPMs and cam profiles and combustion pressures. Unbelievable. I'll tell you, I love it. But unfortunately, that's all the time we have for this hour, folks. But another great hour of Bobby Likis Car Clinic coming up. Tune in, watch Bobby Live or your favorite AM, FM stations. I'm Bobby Likis. Like us? You'll love us.
This is Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Bobby Likis Car Clinic is a copyrighted presentation of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated and may not be reproduced or rebroadcast without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Did you know the first flex fuel vehicle was not born in the 70s? In 1896, Henry Ford built his first automobile, the quadricycle, to run on pure ethanol. In 1908, the flex fuel Model T, designed to run on gasoline and ethanol, rolled onto American roadways. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Ethanol, RFA.org.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Well, spank my bottom and call me polyethylene. I'm recyclable. Hi, Tom Bodette from Motel 6. In the spirit of conservation, this commercial uses 100% recycled words. Yep, just like water bottles or cans of garbanzo beans. I've used all 160-odd words in this commercial before to describe Motel 6, like clean, comfortable, and lowest price of any national chain. Well, that was a whole six-pack I just recycled there. I figure why make new words when those work just fine? So I can tell you what a great value Motel 6 always has been and still is without contributing to a verbal landfill or increasing my jargon footprint. I see it as doing our part to conserve our precious verbal resources, and that feels pretty good. Almost as good as saving money. I bet this will sound familiar too. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you. Book online at motel6.com.
You have one chance to make something happen and to happen right. Bring it bigger, better than it's been seen before. I've been a working stuntman for 25 years now. Definitely not about glory or showing off. It's about making the impossible possible. I'm third generation in the business. Started with my grandfather, then my dad got involved in it. I've been in 115 movies. Period movies are awesome. Last of the Mohicans was a great adventure with my family, with my dad and brothers. There's those crazy-ass blockbusters that everybody loves to be on, where it's just over the top, to the moon, you know, bigger than life. Funnest movies, for sure, would be Waterworld. 50 of my best stunt buddies in Hawaii, wrecking stuff every day on the water. Obviously, car work is the ultimate. The whole goal with Need for Speed was to go as fast as we can. On the movie set, there's generally probably 150 to 200 people that are your working crew. You got to manage where everybody's at all times. Making sure we have communications dialed in between our assistant director, our players, our stunt personnel that are working around. What do we need to do to extend this to On Need for Speed, there was a huge car crash that we were going to do that was, kind of a turning point in the movie. Something that, you need to be going 200 miles an hour to do for real. Our director wanted to, obviously he wanted everything to be done practical, but he felt that the look of this particular wreck that he could do might have to happen in a CG environment. Came up with an idea of pushing the vehicle sideways, profile, and hitting these huge pipe ramps. We can do this for real. He kind of said, really? All right, well, show me. I then, as the coordinator, said, okay, let's do this. I know we can do it. I know it's totally possible. Your raw skill is going to get you through it, but at a certain point, you're going to need that extra moment of practice to pull you through it consistently.
Okay, let's go ahead and start pulling this back, please. All right, Troy, here we go. I'm going to start pushing. So you set? Yeah, action, Troy.
I had all the confidence in the world. The director had all the confidence in the world, and we came in and we nailed it. And it was awesome. Lance Gilbert, stunt coordinator, action designer.
Bobby Likis Car Clinic begins at 6 minutes after the hour. Countdown to 1 minute mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 30-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Countdown to 10-second mark. 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, mark. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. If you have a car question for Bobby, call now at 1-800-264-5454, toll free from anywhere in America. And now, here's your host, Bobby Likis.
And good morning, folks. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I hope that you had a good week and that your car is running really well. If you have a problem with it, I'll be glad to help you in any way that I can. I'll share information as well about new cars coming down the pipe and new technologies as well. 888 Car Clinic is the number for you to get in addition to the other 800 number, but this is a 888-227-2546. Miss Jan's on vacation, so Ted will take your calls and put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. This segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you in part by O'Reilly Auto Parts. You know, protect your hard-earned investment with high-quality replacement parts from O'Reilly Auto Parts. Items like brake pads, rotors, batteries, starters, alternators, radiators, and shocks. The exact parts you need and customer service that you can trust. O'Reilly Auto Parts, better prices, every day. Also, this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic is brought to you by K&N, the original performance air filter of NASCAR. Wouldn't you know? 888-227-2546. Best to get in early. That way we won't try to cram so many calls toward the end of the program, and I can spend time with you and help you to better understand, and that's really what I'm here for, to help you understand the nature of the beast that you drive. Or maybe it's not a beast. Maybe it's running really well and you want to keep it running well. How do you do that? When I come back, I'll tell you at 888-227-2546. This mailbag is brought to you by K&N, the world's best air filter. Today's question comes from Jason in New York. Bobby, I recently installed a K&N cold air intake on my 2012 Silverado. Installation was easy, took about an hour and a half, and I can really feel the difference in horsepower. But on a recent service trip, my dealer said the cold air intake will cause a check engine light to come on. What do you think? And if it happens, what should I do? Jason, many things can trigger a check engine light. K&N's cold air intakes are put to extreme tests without triggering those lights. But if a check engine light does come on and you suspect it may be due to the cold air intake, or your dealer says that it is, go to knfilters.com, call the toll-free tech hotline in the upper right-hand corner. A K&N technical advisor will talk you through what to do. Drive to knfilters.com, take a virtual tour, and find all the reasons why K&N is the world's best air filter.
O'Reilly. Eventually it's going to happen. You'll turn the key and your engine won't start. Don't lose your ability to get around. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts for a Super Start battery. Whether it's a reliable economy, hard-working premium, or powerful extreme, you'll find it at an everyday low price. Don't let a dead battery slow you down. Visit O'Reilly Auto Parts. Better parts, better prices every day.
O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Hey friends, Bobby Likis here. Did you know that transmissions and differentials don't have a cooling system? That's why upgrading lubricants is critical to the performance and longevity of those hard-working parts. Royal Purple's Max Gear and Max ATF not only reduce operating temperatures, but Max Gear and Max ATF also provide maximum wear protection and free up more torque. Go to royalpurple.com for more information or to find a dealer near you. That's Royal Purple, the performance oils that outperform.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
First rule of business, hard work equals success. That's why Geico is consistently rated excellent or better in terms of financial strength. Second rule, don't steal a co-worker's egg salad, especially if it's marked the gecko. Come on, people. Geico is the third largest car insurance company in the nation. But it's not like we're kicking back now having a cup of tea. Takes a lot of sweat to become that big. Of course, geckos don't literally sweat. It's just not our thing. But I do work hard, mind you.
Home. It's the place you like to make warm and inviting. What could be more welcoming than the aroma of fresh coffee brewing? When the coffee is Starbucks, the experience only gets richer. You'll find Starbucks coffee at your grocery store so you can enjoy it at home. Its distinctive roasting style and rich, authentic taste show how seriously we pursue the art of coffee. Savor its aroma, then pour a cup and invite your senses to take flight. Starbucks coffee at your grocery store.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
Okay, let's kick off this hour. Ride along with me this hour, and I will answer your car questions and also share information with you. For instance, and Ted will take your call at 888-CAR-CLINIC. That's 888-227-2546. Weekly U.S. retail gasoline prices, regular grade, if you weren't tuned in for the first hour, we're looking at $3.66 for the national average, and on the West Coast, they're looking at $4.01 per gallon. If your car holds 20, 30 gallons, then you're looking at a crisp $100 bill just to fill your automobile. The good news is that even though gasoline prices continue to go up, the MPG of today's cars also continues to go up, which means you can drive more miles per tank even though you're paying more. So it's really more about dollars per gallons per dollar than it is miles per gallon. Yeah, dollars per mile. Well, not actually dollars per mile. 888-227-2546. I want to. Do I have it? No, I didn't get it. You get it, Tony?
I always get it, man.
I always get it.
Making sure you're on your toes.
Miles per dollar. It's really how many miles that you can go per dollar. And so if you look at gasoline prices, and if your car is getting, if you're paying $4 for a gallon of gas, and your car will go 30 miles on a gallon, then it costs you $4 to go to 30 miles. But if you can go 35, and then interestingly enough, and I'll tell you where I'm going with that, a lot of folks look at E85 and say, well, you lose a percentage of MPG because there's less energy in ethanol than there is in gasoline, which is true. Of course, that's not really apples and oranges because there's more octane in ethanol, 113. So what gas companies are doing, they're making a lower grade gasoline, i.e. 84 octane, and they're injecting it with 10% ethanol to get 87 to make it legal to pump. And as a result, the cost is lower than it would be not using. It's not only a science. These are all facts. I want to reach out to Jim Jacobs and Tim Hurley, WLEE 990 AM in Richmond, Virginia. Jim Jacobs and Tim Hurley, General Manager and Program Director for Car Clinic affiliate WLEE 990 AM in Richmond, Virginia. 888-227-2546 is the number for you to call. And I want to wave to everyone who may be tuned in on our new YouTube, which is over the top, thanks to Tony Gregory, our producer. Right now, watch BobbyLive.com. Let's take a call from Nevada. Nevada, Captain Jim, welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Bobby. You're really looking super good this morning.
Thank you, sir.
I actually hate to admit this. I had to miss your last two shows because I was out of town. But I came back and I flipped on the computer, and everything just ran smooth for the first time. And you look beautiful. The set looks great. It's just outstanding.
Well, I really appreciate that, Captain Jim. You know, we've global cast for a long time, video cast at Watch Bobby Live, but of course, using the other provider, they would break into our broadcast, and so there were times when you were just about to hear the answer to a question, or maybe the question that some car owner had, and there would be a commercial about apples, and I mean nothing to do with cars, at least, and also about cars. And the bottom line, we really weren't satisfied. Since then, thanks to Tony, and Tony's done a whale of a job here, we've partnered with Google with a YouTube channel, and so now we have our own YouTube channel, and that has really brought us to full HD. And as you can see, and you're seeing there in Nevada, you can click on the full screen, and really, I say, it depends on the bandwidth of your personal computer. It's just how many packets will be downloaded. But if you've got a good connection and you go to the settings, which is, I don't know if you know where that is on a screen, and move your cursor up and go to HD, which is 720. I think it defaults to what, Tony? 320 is what the default setting is? Yeah.
360.
360 is the default setting. But anyway, you can do that. But I really appreciate your call. And have you judged any national chili cook-offs lately?
Well, yeah. 2 weekends ago, I was in Virginia City, Nevada, and we had a cook-off up there. It's about 6,000 feet. That was on a Saturday, and we actually judged chili in blizzard conditions. A snowstorm come rolling through, and it just was really interesting. We even had snow blowing in the chili, so that was kind of an interesting thing. But we're getting ready to come up on the World's Championship. The only problem is the owner of the chili organization has not found us a location yet, but she's working hard on it.
Wow. Well, how do you choose a location? I mean, I know that you've had some that were on the East Coast, on the Northeast Coast, but how do you choose a location like that?
Well, she does that, and it's actually difficult because there's a few dollars involved, and It's mainly where she can find the sponsorship and a venue to do it in. So we could even use the parking lot there at Car Clinic, maybe, if we run out of locations.
Well, you certainly could do that. That's for sure. You would have a I don't know if you get enough people there. We did put for our 40th. We celebrated. I think we had some 340 people to come and go, and that was a very successful. I got to tell you, it was like. Well, I don't know if I should say this on the air or not, but I said, well, maybe we could cause a traffic jam on Davis Highway, and we almost did. I didn't want to cause a wreck, but a traffic jam would have been great, and we did. And then there's a shopping mall across the street from our facility, and we ran out of places to park, and I went over and talked to the doctor, one of the tenants in that building, and I said, may we use parts of your parking? And so we parked, and our partners and vendors all parked across the street, and employees, to give ample room for all of our visitors. And it was an exciting time. It was really, really great. Should you get to when you get to the beautiful Gulf Coast of Florida, you'll have to come see us. We'll give you the studio tour.
I'll definitely do that.
And let us know where you find your next venue. This is the international chili cook-off, right?
Yeah, it's actually World's Championship.
Wow.
Yeah, because we do have other countries that do participate, and about a little over 300 cooks show up for the World's Championship.
That sounds interesting. How you being the judge? Just a quick overview. How do you judge? Is it hot? Is it spicy? Is it?
Well, we have a thing that we put the judges through before they go into judging, give them a little spiel. And one of the things is not too hot, not too mild, not too mushy, not too thick. That sort of thing. That's what you're looking for. You want a well-balanced chili. And, of course, our chili that we compete in has no beans or pasta or any fillers in it.
So what does it have in it?
Chili and meat.
Chili and meat, okay.
Yeah, it's what we call Texas Red.
Texas Red. Well,
yeah, or chili con carne. That's what the Mexicans would call it, chili con carne. And that's what we're judging on.
Got it. I got it. One final note, and folks, for those of you who don't know who this gentleman is, he actually is retired captain of boats and has piloted for John Wayne and other folks. You got a quick John Wayne story that you could share quickly?
Oh, gee whiz, I got so many. I knew you were going to ask me that. I don't know whether I told this one to you before or not about his hairpiece.
No, you didn't.
As you know, John Wayne was bald through the top of his head, so he had to wear a hairpiece or a hat. And we were filming one day on the Wild Goose with the BBC, and he was up on the fly bridge, and the wind was blowing pretty good. We were underway, and that hairpiece flipped up on him, and they were just getting ready to shoot when he looked down to the producer and says, "Everything look okay?" And of course the producer said, "Yeah, everything's fine." And I happened to look over at him and see that was his hairpiece was flapping in the breeze. So I hollered at him, and he looked at me like, "What?" So I took my hand and banged it on top of my head. He reached up and felt that. He ducked down, come tearing into the wheelhouse, and he was mad. So he went down into my cabin, repasted it, and they went ahead and got the shot.
Got it. What an interesting story. Hey, thanks so much for sharing that, and thanks always for your comments. And I'm glad that we're coming through loud and clear on our new YouTube account. So thanks, Captain Gentleman. Always great to hear from you, sir.
Okay, you bet. That's great. Thanks.
Thank you. What a gentleman, and always just a loyal listener to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. And, folks, if you have a story you'd like to share, we've got a short break coming up. And then when we come back, we'll take your calls at 888-227-2546. 888 Car Clinic. Thank you so much for tuning in. When I come back, more automotive information coming up. Don't touch your dial. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. The corn as food versus fuel duel is emotional, not factual. Fact is that ethanol is produced from field corn for livestock, not sweet corn for humans. And ethanol production from field corn utilizes only the starch. Remaining vitamins, protein, and fiber are sold as livestock feed. I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
Stant is the nation's leading manufacturer of automotive fuel caps, radiator caps, and thermostats. Stant brings their original equipment expertise to the Stant line of quality aftermarket products. Take fuel caps. Stant offers the only aftermarket fuel cap designed and manufactured with all the safety features of OE caps. A lost motion feature gives the cap handle some freedom to turn while maintaining a seal. A breakaway groove allows the cap to remain sealed even if some of the cap has broken away. Both are safety features, helping prevent fuel leakage during a crash. Further, Stant locking fuel caps protect your vehicle from fuel theft and vandalism. Older fuel cap seals can leak over time, which allows fuel vapors to escape and can also affect gas mileage. Replacing your gas cap is an easy and inexpensive maintenance item for your vehicle. Drive to Stant.com to learn more. Stant, we work well under pressure.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Live from Progressive. Flo here. Today we're talking to newlyweds.
Hi, my husband and I are combining our policies, and my mother-in-law says we can save with Progressive.
Well, with online, homeowners, and multi-car discounts, saving on car insurance is easy.
So you're saying she's right?
I'm saying get used to it.
Get great savings and more at 1-800-PROGRESSIVE and Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and affiliates, Mayfield Village, Ohio. Discounts not available in all states. Prices vary based on how you buy.
Every year there are over 20 million car wrecks in this country. It's not pretty. But people bang out the dents, rebuild them, and resell them to, well, maybe you, bucko. If you're buying a used car, it's a crapshoot. Get a vehicle history report from Carfax.com. They'll give you the real history on any used car. Visit CARFAX.com or ask your dealer for a Carfax report. Don't buy a used car without Carfax.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Through the break, I was wondering, you know, if you'd be interested to know who, from the service side of the desk, we would rather do business with, men or women. And I don't know if you know the answer to that or you care to know the answer, but having been in the automotive service business all my life, I will share with you, and this is sort of a moment in history, we could call this. By the way, I'd love to hear your input. Ted will take your call at 888 Car Clinic. That's 888-227-2546. So we actually would have historically found that women are easier to deal with because women ask questions, whereas most men don't historically. Now, it's sort of shifting now because the cars are so complex that you just don't automatically say, well, my car needs a tune-up because it's stuttering or hesitating or the check engine light is on. But there's no such thing as a tune-up any longer. Anytime vehicles need services, there are guides that we go by with regard to either miles or age. And just for you to know that age is more detrimental on an automobile than miles. And there are some exceptions. For instance, miles will wear brakes out. Miles will wear tires. Miles will wear moving parts. Obviously, the more miles you have on an engine, its life gets shorter and shorter. although most engines today run so well and are so well made that it's really not the life of the engine that's of a concern. In fact, if you're thinking of buying used cars, you might want to look around the backside of some used cars or talk to the used car manager at your local dealerships and say, you got any cars? I need a second car for the household, or a third car for the household, and I just don't have a big budget. And so if you'll let the dealer know that 100,000 plus miles doesn't bother you, and you say, well, I don't know, maybe it does. Well, it shouldn't. Now, you obviously want to have any used car that you are considering purchasing before you write the check. You want to have that car, a pre-purchase vehicle inspection performed on that vehicle, just so you get another set of professional eyes that look over the vehicle. And also, you should know that if you buy a car, whether it has 70,000 or 170,000 miles, there are some things that, as being a used car, that vehicle is going to need. That someone who looks at it in the business is going to tell you what the car needs, as is visible. Now, and also as is time. For an example, engine mounts. If you've got a car that is 8 to 10 years old, it doesn't matter if that vehicle has 10,000 miles or 210,000 miles. You can almost be assured that the rubber parts are going to be needing replaced, and that's engine mounts, rear spring shackles. That's a common problem. Shock absorbers, and some shocks outlast others. I've never figured out what causes a shock to break. I think they just leak over time, and that's when you want to replace them if they leak, because it shows you that the seal is not containing the fluid that's inside. And shocks can be very expensive, especially the ones on sophisticated drive lines that have electronic controls. And I think it's very interesting. And I'll get into that in just a minute with regard to how they do that. But back to the male or female, if you're tuned in to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and you're a female, I'd love to hear from you and see what we can do in our industry that would make you more comfortable. And I've heard of some shops that say, well, we're gonna do an all-female shop only, and that's I have found, and we've actually done some studies on this, and that's not what women want at all. They just want to be treated and with respect. And not to me made feel that they feel guilty by asking a question. And the only dumb car question that there is, folks, just as an FYI, for my 23 years on automotive service side of the aisle, or 43 years plus 23 years on broadcast, is a question not asked. That's the only dumb car question, is the one that you don't ask. And the problem is, what do you ask? Because it's like going to a doctor. You have your consultation, you have your meeting, and you left there, and you turn to your loved one or your friend or whoever went with you, and sometimes that's the way it works, and you say, well, gosh, what did he say or what did she say, and what am I supposed to do? And I didn't know what to ask or what to, So when you go back the next time, you want to make sure that you write that down. Well, that's what I can do for you. I can give you buzzwords and help you to know what question to ask. And a good example would be, let's say you've got a 2004 Chevy, and it has 90,000 miles on it. It has a few more noises than it had before, but it runs well. It starts, it cranks. It doesn't leak water. It doesn't shake or shimmy. And if it does shake or shimmy, then you want to know if it shakes. Will you touch the brake? Or just driving down the road. If the wheels shake without touching the brake, then that indicates that you've got not necessarily a tire out of balance. Don't get ahead of me. But you've got a wheel that can be bent by being curbed or hitting a big pothole, or you've got a bearing that could be bad that holds the wheel in alignment. There's a lot up there. There's a lot of front wheel suspension components that do a lot of work. With A-frames and struts and shocks. So you want to know not necessarily what all is made and what all those parts and pieces are, but you want to know what questions to ask. So if you've got a car that shakes, or if you've got an automobile that that works and drives like Attila the Hun when you drive it, and then you take it into a service shop and it runs like little Miss Manners, then you want to keep a diary. And for years, I recommended a little palm-sized notebook, but now you can just record, using your phone, literally, and without taking your hands off the wheel. Just push a button there and talking to your phone. And what do you want to say to your phone? You want to record the temperature. Let's say that your car runs poorly. Then you notice that it runs more poorly when it's raining than it does when it's dry weather, or when it's hot versus cold. And there are 3 different temperatures that engines go through. There's cold, which means you first fire it up in the morning. That's cold temperature, and it runs for about 6 miles there, or 6 minutes. It's actually still going through the warm-up session. And so you've got cold, then you got the warm-up, and then only after 15 minutes of driving can you consider the engine up to operating temperature. So if your car acts up with you and you take it into a service shop, but it has to be driven half an hour before it ever acts up, you don't know this because you don't think about this until the car acts up, and then you say, well, I got to take it into a shop, and then it doesn't do it for a week or so or a day or so. Or maybe you just go short hops and the engine doesn't get all the way up to operating temperature. And here's a killer. You drive a car, you get it up to operating temperature, you've been driving it 30 minutes or longer, and then you park. Maybe you go into to get gas or just to get a bottle of water at a service station or take a bio break. The bottom line, you come back out, underhood temperature will increase. Engine temp will increase no less than 30 degrees. If you've got an engine that's running normal operating temperature, 210, 220, and you park the car, the engine temp will increase by 30 degrees. And inside, where the valves are and the oil for the valve guides, that actually can get up to 600 degrees with it. And there's nothing wrong with that. That's just the parts of the engine that you never see. But those parts get really hot, and when they do, there's oil that can run down the valve guide, and that oil lubricates the guide. Some of that residual oil will coke up, just like you leave a coffee pot, whoever takes the last cup and doesn't turn the pot off, and you've got those grounds that coke up in the bottom of the pot. That's the same thing that happens on the back of intake valves. And that's why we as an industry recommend fuel injector cleaner. But you got to know this, there's 2 different ways that fuel injector cleaner is used. One is the wet way, and one is the dry way. Well, what does that mean? In a fuel-injected engine, and there are different types of fuel injected, but let's just say it's a port-injected, which is what most cars are, although most cars are going to direct injection where the fuel is injected in the piston. But let's say it's port-injector. That fuel flows over the back of the intake valve. So you can use a wet fuel injector, which cleaner, which means you put it in the gas tank. Royal Purple has called Max Clean, which is one of the most powerful cleaners that you can use, and you just simply add that into the gas and you run your car, and it does the work for you while you're driving the car, because Max Clean mixes with the gas, goes in, and is sprayed onto the back of the valve, which it has to go around to get into the piston area, into the combustion chamber. And as a result, when it goes around the valve, it softens that top layer of coked up oil that has, I call it polyps on the back of the intake valve. So you don't want to run that cleaner in a trip. Say you're planning a trip to the Indy 500, which is coming up tomorrow, by the way, and you say, well, this is a good time. I'm going to be on the road. I'll put in this in the injector cleaner. That's not a good time to do it. Why? Because you want that injector cleaner to hang around a long time. You don't want to use it up in all one tank full. You want it to clean and soften, and then let the engine sit overnight, and then the next morning when you fire the engine up, another layer is washed away on the back of the intake valve, another layer of carbon, of unburned hydrocarbon or coked up oil. And so when do you use an injector cleaner? Well, you use it when you're planning no trip on the highway and you're going to be driving around town like you normally do, and you may one tank of gas may stay in your engine a week or 10 days or 2 weeks. That gives you a lot of start stops, a lot of overnight stands, so that the carbon that is softened by the injector cleaner can be washed away when you fire the car in the morning. And just know this, without the use of a very commercial grade cleaner, you cannot possibly undo what it takes 30,000 miles to create. And by saying that, what I mean by that is that over a period of 30,000 miles, your carbon gets built up on the back of the intake valves. You couldn't possibly clean that out in one fell swoop by driving 300 miles with one tank of cleaner. You can't do that. Now, there are some cleaners that are stronger than others. That is true. But the bottom line, the best way to use any fuel injector cleaner is when you're in town driving, not on the highway. So you need to know that and understand that. When I come back, I'll take your calls at 888-227-2546, 888 Car Clinic. A special thanks for tuning in today. I'll see you on the other side of this break.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
I'm Bobby Likis with today's Drive Smarter tip, brought to you by Escort, the world's best radar and laser detectors. When I say horsepower, you think giddy up and go, right? But it takes twice as much horsepower to bring the vehicle to a stop. Make sure your car's horses have the power to whoa as well as to go. Have your brakes checked regularly by an automotive professional. This Drive Smarter tip is brought to you by Escort's Passport Max, the first and only all-digital detector with HD radar performance. Don't just drive, drive smarter. Escort.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Another great place to use Visa.
They giggle and jiggle, they jump and they sing, they poke and they play with most wondrous things. And that's just the parents. At Creative Kid Stuff in Minneapolis, you'll find the most enchanting toys and games for kids of all ages. But if you want to bring home their innovative playthings, you better bring your Visa card. Because at Creative Kid Stuff, you can let your child's imagination run wild, but you can't use American Express. Visa, it's everywhere you want to be.
Now showing on the Star Super Pack, the Jaw Dropper.
Oh!
The Peep. The Howl.
Oh!
The Wheeze.
Oh my God!
See how you feel watching The Mummy Returns, Jurassic Park 3, and Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon on the Star Super Pack. Hundreds of movies, millions of emotions. Call 1-800-SUPER-PACK to get up to 12 channels for about $12.
Availability and price may vary with digital cable or satellite TV.
To my darling wife, Mary, I'm sorry. I'm sorry I said I would pick you up in front of the hair salon. I'm sorry that 5 minutes after the salon closed, the worst storm in decades showed up, instead of me. I'm sorry as you were struggling to find shelter, I was unwrapping a Milky Way in the shelter of our car. I'm sorry that one bite of that chocolate, nougat, and caramel and I forgot all about the sheets of rain pelting your $250 hairdo. I'm sorry when I finally arrived, you were wandering around, temporarily blinded by the hair products that had washed into your eyes. I'm sorry your new haircut looked like the matted fur patches found on the backside of a black bear. And I'm sorry I said that out loud when you got in the car. I'm sorry you haven't let me into the bedroom in 4 days. I hope you're okay in there. I'm sorry I was eating a Milky Way. All my love, John Ellis, devoted husband and Milky Way eater.
And now back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic and your host, Bobby Likis.
And welcome back to this segment of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Just tune in every Saturday from 10 till noon on your favorite local AM and or FM radio stations. And also we come to you live at watchbobbylive.com. I want you to get social with me. Like me on Facebook.com/Bobby Likis. That's Likis. Twitter.com, same name. All of these are the same name. Pinterest. facebook.com/Bobby Likis, and also on Tumblr. That's Bobby Likis Car Clinic .tumblr, TUMBLR.com. It's a very interesting blog. It's a lot different than the others. But the bottom line is social media at its best, and you can watch me at youtube.com/Bobby Likis now in full screen, true HD. And folks, it's 100% ad-free, and that part I like. I like that part. Commercials are part of our life on radio. I mean, sometimes you say, well, gosh, there's too many commercials. Hey, I agree. But the bottom line, the products that I endorse, the products that I share information with you about, are products that I personally test. And we have just dozens of products that companies send to us and say, we want you to test this and let us know what you think. And to that end, we're going to be testing a new K900 pretty soon. Another product that I learned of a short time ago was AC Pro. And the AC Pro is a fantastic, I've tried that on my own automobile. It's a 10-minute automotive air-conditioned cold air solution. And you can go to acprocold.com to find a store near you. And this is a 10-minute, and in it, what's neat about the AC Pro is that it has a gauge, it has the hose, it has the refrigerant. It's fast and easy. It's the 10-minute job, and there are directions on the bottle. So for those of you do-it-yourselfers who want to do your own repair to your AC system, there is a sealer in here that also helps O-rings return their pliability, and so that helps to seal the AC leaks from O-rings, and that's a typical problem with a lot of Fords. So just remember that you heard it from here, from Bobby Likis, to use AC Pro. It's a great product. You could call that a commercial, but it's a personal endorsement rather than a commercial. So here's the bottom line. There are some products that I get really excited about. And one of those, and this is a different kind of product, it's a car, really. Yes, I still get lots of love about cars. Recently, I interviewed Michael Sprague from Kia regarding the K900. And we talked with him. And so, Tony, if you would roll that, I see that Sandy is calling in. Let's roll this, and then Sandy, if you would hold, please. I want you to hear what Michael Sprague has to say about the new Kia, the K900 luxury car. Tony? And welcome back to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Great show today. Very exciting. Jan will take your calls at 888 Car Clinic and put you in the queue, and I will put you on the air. Joining me on the hotline now is Michael Sprague, Executive Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Kia Motors. And I'm all excited about the K900, and I understand there's a new Sedona on the way as well. So let's all welcome Michael to Bobby Likis Car Clinic. Michael, glad to have you in the house.
Thank you for having me, Bobby. Great to be here.
The Kia organization at large has done a fantastic job, and I say that from a service standpoint, from a marketing standpoint, and just from what I hear on the street. And now, all of a sudden, the company is growing and migrated, it appears, into the luxury car market. What was an ultimate goal for Kia, and what specific focus areas did your team consider with regard to the new K900 luxury car?
Well, sure, Bobby. So you're right. We have grown quite a bit. This is our 20th anniversary here in 2014. In fact, in the month of April, we sold our 5 millionth vehicle. So we're really excited by that. We were finding that more and more consumers, as they discovered the brand, particularly with vehicles like our Optima and our Cadenza, kept asking for more. They said they wanted a bigger car. They wanted more features. They wanted it to be a little more luxurious. And we also saw the luxury brands moving down into what I'd call the more traditional general market space. And we said, hey, if they can move down into our territory and our customers are asking for a more luxurious vehicle, then why shouldn't we be able to come out and offer one? And that's really what the K900 is. It's meant to be the most competitive luxury vehicle in the space, going against BMW, Mercedes, Audi. And it's really to challenge to kind of the traditional luxury thinking of luxury has to be defined by heritage and tradition. And we're saying, no, it doesn't. It can be defined by design and technology and the experience.
Well, you speak of the technology. This car is chock full of technology and also chock full of leathers. I understand that your company spent quite some time simply locating the Napa leathers inside the car.
Yes, exactly. It took our designers about 2 years to find what they felt was the best leather that we could use. When consumers get the opportunity to get in and experience it, they'll really understand why we took our time. To be competitive in this space, particularly as a new company coming into it, we had to make sure that we were offering the absolute best because, we're going against some pretty big competitors there. They've been in the space for 100 years, and we needed to put our best foot forward.
Well, it appears that you've done that way. As I understand, there are 16-way adjustable driver seats and a panoramic roof and a tri-zone HVAC, the air-conditioned system, the rear seat package, and the rear-wheel drive. The K900 is a rear-wheel drive, and what's under the hood?
Yeah, so we've got a 5-liter V8 engine. It delivers about 420 horsepower. And when we were looking at the competition, we knew that to come out strong and just get on people's shopping lists, or at least their consideration lists, there were two factors. One, it had to be rear-wheel drive, and two, we had to offer a V8 engine. And so we've ticked the box on both of them. And I guess there was a third one. We had to make sure that it delivered over 400 horsepower, and we're coming in at 420.
And as far as body weight, I understand that it uses the latest in ultra-high strength steel. What's the body weight on it, and were there any particular challenges with regard to this specific ultra-high steel?
As a conglomerate, we have a steel company within the family of companies. So we've been working very closely with them over the last couple of years to develop new technologies in the steel space. Everybody ultimately is looking to produce lighter weight vehicles, but also safer vehicles as well. And so we've been working with them for a couple of years to come up with a solution. And we'll see more and more of this as we introduce other vehicles into the marketplace. We'll see a higher propensity or a higher use of the high-strength steel.
Just one more question regarding the K900, Michael. I'm all about high-tech multimedia in my car. So I understand there's a multimedia system with a 9+ inch screen in the car?
Yes, exactly. We have a proprietary system that we call UVO. It stands for Your Voice. It's our in-vehicle infotainment and communication system. And what it does, it allows you to bring in your BlackBerry or your iPhone or Samsung, any mobile device that you have, and pair it with the vehicle. And then you can control everything by the push of a button and the use of your voice. So that way the drivers can continue to stay focused on the road and keep their two hands on the steering wheel. So it allows you to access your phone book, access any songs that you have, access any apps that you have. You can download Pandora and Google Maps and other things along those lines.
I really have to give you credit for stepping up and stepping into the luxury segment. I think it'll be highly successful. Look forward to driving one. I'd like to shift gears now. Let's do shift gears now. And folks, what you just heard was a conversation that I had with Michael Sprague, who is a vice president of marketing for Kia. And I instigated that because I have seen that car online and I read about that car. And what really sparked my attention was that when I think of Kia, and I'm guilty of this as most technicians would be, and maybe a lot of you as well. You think about the Kia of old, and Kia has really done a whale of a job over the past 5 years. I forget how many million cars that they've sold, some 5 million vehicles, and they've been in business for 20 years. And this K900 intrigues me, and so we're going to talk with Michael again and see if we can get one of those cars delivered to Car Clinic so that I can actually sit in one, drive one, and use that vehicle and learn about it, because that's a segment that Kia's never gone into before. This is a luxury car segment that typically you think of BMW, you think of Audi, you think, of course, Mercedes-Benz. So this is not your old man's luxury car, that's for sure. It's a Kia K900, and as Michael just said, with 420 horsepower, rear-wheel drive, 5-liter V8 engine, and I happen to know it has an 8-speed transmission with paddle shifters. I can't wait to get my fingers on the paddle shifters. And speaking of fingers, let's do a little walking now on the phone and welcome Sandy. I'll be darned. Sandy, welcome with your 2001 Kia Rio. Welcome to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
I love your show. You have taught me so much. Thank you so much.
Well, what a nice thing to hear. Thank you very much. I really appreciate your comments, Sandy.
Okay, and my question is, it's a 2001 Kia Rio. It has like 47,000 miles on it.
Okay.
I pampered this car. I love this car because it cost me nothing. I mean, nothing to own.
Wow.
I've owned it for 11 and a half years. And with the E85, my question is, it's an older engine. And I'm wondering, somebody told me that you need to put stuff in the engine every now and then to clean out the gunk that accumulates. And I was wondering, how often I should put that in the engine and what type of products would you recommend?
Well, those are good questions. First, let me clarify something. That your 2001 Kia, that's what you got, 2001, right?
Yes.
Okay, that engine, that Kia did not make a flex fuel vehicle, so the E85 is out. You don't use 85%. See, E85 is 85% ethanol and 15% gasoline, and then there's
I thought it was the other way around.
Okay, then there's no, ma'am, and then there's E10 and E15, and so the 85 number, as the E10 and E15 numbers, mean that the percentage of ethanol blended with gasoline. So E10 is 10% ethanol blended with gasoline, and all cars since the early 80s can run E10. No problems. Even contrary to what we have heard, Sandy, even boats can run E10. Mercury Marine actually made the statement, and you can go online and to Mercury Marine and find this, or if not, I can certainly send it to anyone out there. Mercury Marine actually made the statement that a boat fuel tank, after transition to E10, would probably run drier than it would and more healthy than it was with straight gasoline, because ethanol will hold 26 times more water than gasoline without phase separation. So, and that's a little technical. I won't go there, but just let me share with you what you do need to do for your 50,000-mile Kia. Number one, you can use E15. All cars 2001 and later can use E15 because ethanol is the most tested fuel ever in the history of fuels, and there have been 6 million miles of testing by the EPA on engines with no failures, and there's been more than 50 million miles put on cars with no reported problems from E15. This is consumers' cars. So if your engine is if your vehicle is 2001 or younger, that means that you can use E15. Now, will you have gunk, as you say, built up on your engine? The answer to that is sure, because all engines use oil, and all engines have oil in the crankcase that lubricates the moving parts, and some of those moving parts are overhead, and that's the valves. In fact, if you were tuned in, you heard me speaking earlier about adding a wet, and I didn't go to the dry side. I should have done that. So now that I recall, the wet fuel injector cleaner is what you add to the fuel tank. And one of those.
Right, and I learned that from you. Thank you.
You're welcome. And that product is made by Royal Purple, and it's called Max Clean. And you can buy that at O'Reilly Auto Parts. You can buy that at Walmart, and you can just go to royalpurple.com and look at other locations too. But keeping with what the information that you asked for, so that you'll know to wet clean your engine, which means the parts of the valves that need to have the gunk removed, and we'll call it gunk, you can add this Max Clean to the gasoline, and it cleans while you drive. Now, there's another area that doesn't approach, and that's the dry clean. And dry clean means the lungs of the engine, the mouth of the engine. That's the throttle body, because in your fuel-injected Kia, air flows through the mouth of the engine, which is the throttle plate, which is what you open with your foot when you step on the gas pedal. That's the throttle plate. Air only, not fuel, but air only goes into the throttle of the engine and then flows through the plenum chamber, which is like your lungs. And then from that plenum chamber, that air flows down these little ports, or they're called intake pipes. So you've got a throttle body, which is the mouth. It's like your mouth. You've got your throat, which would be a pipe that leads to down to your diaphragm. And so an engine has the mouth, it has the plenum, and then it has the pipes. So that's what you need to worry about, and you have to use a professional cleaning service at a shop to do that dry side. That's all the time we have for this edition of Bobby Likis Car Clinic. I'll see you next week. Likis, you'll love us. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, Bobby Likis Car Clinic, 10 to noon Eastern Time every Saturday. Bye-bye. Take care.
Without the express written approval of Car Clinic Productions Incorporated.
I'm Bobby Likis, calling all technicians with 20 facts about ethanol. Another ethanol myth debunked. Myth is that ethanol production uses too much water. Truth is that since 2001, ethanol producers have lowered water requirements by 47%, and only 15% of all corn grown in the U.S. is irrigated. The rest is rain-fed. I'm Bobby Likis with 20 facts about ethanol, brought to you by the Renewable Fuels Association. Drive to ethanolrfa.org.
Fortune 500 companies choose Royal Purple lubricants to protect and improve the performance of their multi-million-dollar equipment. The same high-performance technology is also available for your car, truck, motorcycle, boat, or ATV. Royal Purple enhances performance and provides superior protection for anything wrapped in metal. Royal Purple is the performance oil that outperforms. For independent tests and endorsements that document Royal Purple benefits, go to royalpurple.com. That's royalpurple.com.
You're listening to Bobby Likis Car Clinic.
Driving a cab in this town can drive you nuts. It's like hurry up and wait. Last week, I'm stuck behind a bus on Broadway when that pastrami on ride catches up with me. Ooh, heartburn big time. Guy in the back seat says, "Here, take a Zantac 75. I say, "What are you, a doctor?" And he says, "Yeah."
Zantac 75 relieves heartburn anywhere, anytime.
A real gentleman, that doctor.
Zantac 75, the heartburn relief doctors trust.
Hi, Tom Bodette for Motel 6. Baby boomers ain't babies anymore. Ties as wide as your belly are out. So are bell-bottom pants. Oh, wait, bell-bottoms are back in. Well, spending more money than you have to is still definitely out. So save money, stay at Motel 6, and get with the times. And before you go making fun of your kid's haircut, you might want to check out your old yearbook. Talk about what goes around comes around. I'm Tom Bodette for Motel 6, and we'll leave the light on for you.